TitleMatchNetwork.com.
Was there anyone that you guys ever refused to work with? And did you and Taker ever walk out at all?
No. Okay. I always heard a rumor that we were going to switch over to WCW one time.
Right, I heard that.
I never heard that. It never even crossed our mind. No way in hell. Why the hell we want to leave a good thing?
What are your thoughts on the feud you guys did with Bubba and Devon?
Oh, well, at the end there.
Right.
The deal there, I talked about my gastric bypass surgery earlier. I mean, that was people have a lot of things to say about overweight people. Unless you've ever, been overweight and suffered from the obesity, you just don't have a clue of what it entails and what it's like. So I had my gastric bypass surgery, and there's some complications that goes along with that. I was losing weight at a tremendous rate. I mean, a pound or more a day. And because of that, you're really weak. And I knew that I had to make WrestleMania 20. And so I had the surgery, and I knew no matter what, I had to be at WrestleMania 20. So that was, So I was so weak, and it was so hard for me to travel on the road. Losing weight, because you can't get enough. Your stomach is made smaller, and your intestines are moved around and shit. Your whole plumbing's messed up, and you can't get enough nutrients in your body.
You can't eat, right?
Protein and stuff to make, especially a lifestyle that we lead on the road, that the wrestlers lead on the road. And here I am, a 50-year-old man trying to run with young boys all around the world. So it was hard. I was having a hard time walking up the steps, getting into the ring, because my legs were really weak. Well, anyway, long story short, one of the complications of the gastric bypass surgery is gallbladder problems, because you're losing weight at such a tremendous rate that all that trash is filtered through your gallbladder and shit, and you end up with gallstones and gallbladder problems. So one day I was sitting in my office. I'd come home off on the road with Taker, and all of a sudden it felt like somebody came up behind me, took a knife, and just stuck it in my side. And it was my gallbladder, and so I had to go in for emergency gallbladder surgery. So I called the office and told John Laurinaitis, and I was in the hospital and going to have emergency surgery. So they ended up doing the angle where the Dudley boys kidnapped Paul Bearer and threw him in the trunk and made Taker do the right thing and all that shit there. So that's why that happened, was because of my gallbladder surgery. But like I said, Vince has always took care of me. He really has, and I can't say anything bad about him along that line. And he was sincerely concerned about my health and about me being on the road, being as weak as I was and everything. And he decided we should do something, to put Paul Bearer on the shelf at that time. And that's when they came up with the angle where they buried me in concrete. And we can talk further how that angle was done and everything if you want to.
Well, I was going to ask you, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think you talked about it the one convention. You did the Q&A and everything.
I kayfabed the secrets of that for a while. I can tell you about it now. But before I go into that, I just want to say that following when they buried me in the concrete, that first Great American Bash, the first WWE American Bash, that I got paid. I got a check every week for the next year and a half, up until this past few months when they signed me to a Legends contract and my regular talent contract ran out. But the deal with the burying in concrete thing, that was what an experience that was. Because I get asked about that all the time. How was that done? Were you really buried in concrete? Yeah, I was buried in concrete. You've seen it on TV. It was a glass was like that. It was a glass crypt. It was a real concrete mixer. And it was mostly real concrete, but they did have some oatmeal mixed into it, to give it the texture and shit, for television purposes. But it was basically real concrete, and we filmed that, we pre-taped that earlier in the day with me in the box. And I was sitting in the chair, and in my right hand I had a button that I had to keep pressed down on my hand. And if I ever let go of that button at any time, they would come in with sledgehammers and bust the thing open and get me out. It was that dangerous. The button was hooked onto a light that was off the side of the set, and if the light came on, they knew I had an emergency and they were going to come bust me out of it. It was pretty serious because that damn concrete truck, anything could have happened with that. Could have been a malfunction or anything.
I was going to ask you, did anything go with your Owen Hart flashback?
Yeah,
or anything like that?
Yeah. I was scared shitless.
Did they give you did they give you a choice? Do you want to do this? Obviously, they probably.
Yeah. But hell, I wasn't going to say no.
Huh.
I never said no. But,
Looking back on it now, do you think it was smart to do that with knowing that accidents could happen?
Well, thank God it didn't happen.
All right.
Maybe love of the business. That's why certain people do
But
it.
exactly how we did that is that, like I said, we pre-taped it, and I took the concrete up to about here, right to my nose, and that's where the pre-tape stopped. And then they had this big suction machine, like a machine that sucks out septic tanks and shit.
Right.
Come in, it was going to suck out the concrete out where I could get out. The damn thing wouldn't suck the concrete out. So here I was stuck in a damn concrete crypt, and I swear I couldn't lift my legs, I couldn't lift my arms. It was so heavy on me. So the only way they got me out, they just had they put plastic on the floor, opened the door, and let the shit pour out, and my fat ass went right on the floor with it. So what they done, they had a look-alike. Can you imagine a look-alike for me?
Huh.
But they brought in a look-alike from Hollywood. He's a Hollywood stuntman that's familiar with doing those kind of gimmicks. And so during the live show, when you saw Paul Bearer in the concrete crypt, it was the look-alike. It wasn't me. So when they showed the close-ups, it was what we pre-taped earlier in the day.
Right.
So it was the magic of television. I was already on a plane going back to Alabama.
Did you get a bonus?
When the actual show. I got paid for another year and a half.
Right.
Afterwards, I guess you could call that a bonus.
Wow.
But it was and Undertaker wasn't even there for the pre-tape. All that was done. Undertaker's part was all done live with the look-alike.
Right.
It was just they cleared the building. Nobody was in there and shit. But I understand a little fluke happened when they uploaded it to the satellite. And some people, y'all hear about it sometimes. They'll say you pick up the satellite feed from WWF, and
Right.
somebody picked up on the feed that they had sent to the satellite to go to Stanford.
Huh.
And there was some shit come out on the internet about it and stuff. But that's the true story. That's exactly how that happened. Came along.
I was going to ask you, do you think at that point in time your weight got out of control at all? And
Oh, absolutely. And I can sit here and point fingers, but an old man told me a long time ago, when you point a finger at somebody, you point 3 back at yourself.
Huh.
And I put on a tremendous amount of weight. And in fact, I've been big all my life. And for most of the time that I was working with The Undertaker, I was way over 300 pounds for many, many years. And people didn't realize it. TV does things so I wore the suits and shit. And you couldn't tell really how big I was. And I couldn't point the finger and stuff. My wife got breast cancer, and it was really hard. I thought for a long time we were going to lose her there for a while. It was a long battle. My oldest son and his wife gave us our first grandson, and he passed away. And it was just, we had some hard times there. And I found my comfort, not in a bottle of Jack Daniels or in a bag of drugs or something. I found my comfort in eating. And that's why I would hide the pain, and I just kept putting on weight. And it was during that year I was away from the company, I got up to 525 pounds.
wow.
I weighed 525 pounds. I was dying. And I knew I was dying. And I can remember vividly one particular day riding in the car with my wife and being just so miserable. And I told my wife, I said, if I, being a Catholic as I am, I told my wife if I didn't think I'd go to hell, I'd kill myself. It was that bad.
TitleMatchNetwork.com